So today let's talk about negative exponents. Basically there's one rule for negative exponents, but we're actually going to split it up into two. Okay, the first rule says this: if you have a to the negative x, okay, a to the negative x is going to equal 1 over a to the x. So essentially, anytime you have a negative exponent, that's a bad thing. So we want to rewrite it without that negative exponent. And the way we do that is we're simply going to take, if it's a variable or number that's in the numerator, we're essentially going to move it down to the bottom like we did here, and then the exponent turns positive. The opposite is true if it is in the bottom, where we're going to simply take this and move it to the top, and it becomes a to the x power. So no more do we have a negative exponent. So let's do a couple examples here. So let's start with this first one. So if I have x to the negative 3, remember, it's anything that we write, we can write as a fraction. So it's like that. So essentially we're going to take this and we're going to move it down. So it becomes 1 over x to the third. Okay, number 2, same basic idea. I can write it as 1 over 2 to the third. And I know what 2 to the third is. It's 8. Now, if you have a fraction like number 3 here, okay, negative exponent, negative 1, basically means you're going to have to flip, okay, everything upside down. Kind of the long ways about this is, you can distribute this, so it'll become 2 to the negative 1 over 3 to negative 1. And so now both of these are going to have to flip upside down, so it then becomes 3 over 2. Now, number 4 down here, you notice that, okay, move it over here. 4 down here, you notice that the bottom is the only part that has the negative exponent, right here. So that's the only part that's going to move. The 3 doesn't have a negative exponent, so we're going to leave it as is. The 3 is going to just stay there. This has a negative exponent, so let's move it up. So it becomes 3x squared, and there's nothing on the bottom. So we can just write it as 3x squared, just like that. What about this one? It says 4 times a to the negative 2. Well, again, the question becomes, does 4 have a negative exponent? No, it doesn't. The 8 does, so that means it means to move down. So it becomes 4 over 8 squared. Well, 8 squared is 64. And you can reduce that. 4 goes in 64 16 times, pardon me. Okay. Hopefully this is making sense. Let's just keep moving on. Now this one, number 6, is one that people make mistakes on all the time. Okay, as we look at this, you need to identify the bases, whether it be numbers or variables, that have negative exponents. Well, the negative 3 doesn't. The a does. And the b does not. So the a is the only thing that's going to move. So I'm going to take this a and I'm going to move it down. Okay, even though it's a negative 3, it's not an exponent. The negative 3 is not an exponent, so it's going to stay there. And the a to the negative 2 goes down. And that's it. Nothing else to do. Okay, let's take a look at this one. This one's got a lot of stuff going on here. All right, so same idea as last time. Identify what has a negative exponent. This has a negative exponent, this does. So therefore, the things that don't have negative exponents, that's 5, and that's also b to the third, are going to stay where they are. The r to the negative 5 will go up, so this becomes r to the 5th, and a to the negative 2 will go down, become a squared. And you're done. Okay, so negative exponents aren't terribly difficult. It's just that you got to remember that if it does have a negative exponent, if it's in the numerator, it should move to the denominator. If it's in the denominator, move it to the numerator. Okay, pretty simple idea.